Hey, did you miss me? It's been a while. Welcome back to Sheener the Taxpayer. Yeah, it's been, I think, almost 2 weeks, so I was kind of getting burnt out, and I don't know. People aren't really watching, anyways, but the people that do click on this, I really do appreciate it. Yeah, I was just pumping out episodes left, right, and center, and, I can't expect everybody to just listen and watch all the time, and I needed a break from it. Um, I was having conversations with friends and stuff that were a friend, basically, that was liberal, and he does this usual liberal thing, saying, "Oh, you're in an echo chamber," and then the next day, this lady on the screen, Michelle Ferrari, she did a quick video about how liberals accuse conservatives about being in an echo chamber, and I guess both sides are, really, because you're not going to change one side's opinion. But I do know that a lot of liberal people, supporters, don't like to deal with facts. So, and when you give them facts, well, that's when the name calling starts. Anyways, I was just getting burnt out on it, and it's like I'm saying the same stuff over and over again, and it gets a little bit repetitive. And it does take effort. It does, yeah, it takes effort to do this, and you know, it takes effort to find the videos. A lot of it gets sent to me, anyways. But I got to go through these things and make sure that I either agree with it, or I've got something to say with it or against it or whatever. So, there's that aspect. So everything that I show, I gotta go through it on my own and then watch it again, for the most part, again while I do the show. So, it's time, and I've got other things to do too. So, and it's not like I'm making any money out of this either. So, anyway, but there is a lot going on, so I wanted to get on the horn here and say my piece. All this BS with Trump, and let's face it, no matter how you vote, liberal, conservative, NDP, PPP, PPP, whatever you are, we can all agree that Trump is a freaking goof, right? But let's be honest. All the industries that have been tariffed since this whole shebang started were already on the ropes. And I think a lot of that had to do with the liberals for the last decade in being in office, all the limitations, all the regulations, everything, all the restrictions put on business, taxes, uh, you name it. And it doesn't foster a lot of growth potential in our country. So businesses were suffering. They were already leaving the country, or they weren't making money. And, if somebody placed tariffs, we should have been strong enough that we go, so what? So there's tariffs. We're still strong enough. We should be strong enough to withstand that. And that didn't happen. And then, everybody thought Carney he was elected solely because he was going to deal with Trump. He was the man to handle Trump. He was going to get the deal. It was supposed to be a year ago. Still hasn't happened. And, Trump's going to just keep bashing us. I don't think, and I'm going to be all over the place. Doug Ford's an idiot. I don't think you go right back and start causing more issues. The problem has been all along is Carney and the liberals have not gotten back to the table, since the bargaining table, since October. It's all fallen apart. The Americans have been saying it. If you don't watch any news other than CBC or CTV, then you don't have a clue about it. I watch clips from all over the place, and it's out there. You just got to find it. And I show it on this show. And other podcasts show it on their shows. It's out there. And the U.S. ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, he's been on countless podcasts here in Canada and news sources, and saying the same thing, that they have been waiting for Canada to come to the bargaining table. They had stuff already that they could agree upon, and they made a list of the irritants, and nothing has been done since. Ever since Doug Ford sent those, paid for those ads in the U.S., nothing has happened. Canada has said, oh, we'd like to talk, but they don't talk. They haven't sent proposals. They're bamboozling everybody, saying that they are, but they're not. The U.S. hasn't received any proposals. There's no work going on. And Trump is forcing our hand, and he should be, in a way, but not this way. I mean, this is stupid, and this is going to harm a lot of people. I got a video that I'm going to play in a bit where this affects 5% of businesses and stuff, and it's really going to hurt them. And it's nonsense. And it could have been prevented a long time ago, over a year ago, if Carney had just done what he promised he was going to do and get the deal done. He was the man for the job. He's the man for a crisis. We were in a crisis. Oh my God, the world's going to end. We're in a crisis. Crisis, crisis, crisis. Threat, threat, threat. He's done nothing. Not a fucking thing. Excuse my French. Damn, I've gone 3 days without swearing, and then I go and do a podcast, and what do? I swear. I'm sorry. I apologize. We allow free trade with the UK to bring in X amount of cheese, but we block it from the US. It's so stupid. No wonder Trump has got his panties in a knot. And he always does anyway. So, like, just deal with the man. Get the job done. Get the deal done. Let's move on. But Carney's like, oh, well, we already have the best deal. What are you talking about, man? We're either in a crisis or we got the best deal. Well, obviously, we don't have the best deal now, do we? And then we got to get into the whole bridge thing, which, you know, in the U.S., they don't even give a shit about the bridge. Most Americans don't care about anything going on in Canada. But to us, it means the whole wide world. Well, there's a rant for you. I've been bottling this up for a couple of weeks. Swig of coffee for my fellow working Canadians. My goodness. So anyways, over the last couple of weeks, I've been saving different news things and clips, and I guess a lot of it's old by now, so I'll go through it. I forget even what I have. So let's just wing it. But this is the latest video from Michelle Ferrari, and this has to do with the Gordie Howe Bridge. Let's give her a listen.
Well, we've got a bit of a problem. If we're going to create unity in this country, we need some truth. So the Liberal whip is Mark Gerretsen. He's a member of Parliament for Kingston and the Islands. The Liberal Prime Minister is Mark Carney. Mark Carney came out and lied about the agreement with the Gordie Howe Bridge. Pierre Poilievre called him out on it. Mark Gerretsen then went on to call out Pierre for misleading the public.
Poilievre says Canada gave away half the toll revenue on the new Gordie Howe Bridge. But that's flat out wrong.
Nope, not flat out wrong at all, Mark. In fact, it's 100% true.
Here's the actual situation. Canada paid for the bridge up front. That part is true. And originally, Canada was going to collect tolls to recover that cost over time. But the new agreement, it doesn't split revenue. It splits profits.
No, it doesn't. So either Mark hasn't seen the agreement either, like the rest of Canadians, or he's lying. But we now know that government officials have actually confirmed that it is 100% splitting the revenue.
There's a massive difference there. Revenue is every dollar that comes in. Profit is what's left over after the expenses. Expenses like operations, maintenance, staffing, even paying down the bridge debt itself.
Mark, you're the whip. Like, you're supposed to be like in charge here of your Liberal caucus and like communications of what people say. It actually, literally, the agreement says it's not going to pay down debt servicing costs. You're a liar, Mark, and you called Pierre a liar. So you need to apologize. You need to delete, and you guys need to get your shit together and talk to your government officials and learn how to run a damn country.
So before you decide if this is a terrible deal, ask yourself, are you reacting to the facts or how they were framed to mislead you?
You know, there you go. There you go. If Carney would stop globetrotting around the whole planet, how much gas is that? How much CO2 is that emitting? And spending like $1 million on food in the process. He's going all around the world signing these fake MOUs that doesn't prove to make us a penny. But he sure has gone out of his way to piss off Trump and not get a deal signed since he's taken office. Okay, well, he was elected, but he did just take over the position at one point too, didn't he? Funny how that happened. Not to mention, he stole a majority crookedly, and he's got the majority. The guy can do whatever he wants without impunity or impunity. I don't know how to use these fancy words. With impunity, I don't know. I gotta ask my Google box on that one. But he can do what he wants, and now he's gonna meet with the premiers to figure out what they're gonna do. He's trying to wait out Trump to see if Trump gets turfed on the midterms. And that's a bad strategy. He should have had a deal a long time ago. You know, another reason why I stopped doing this podcast was I was getting too worked up, too. I was getting too angry. I'm feeling it again. Feeling like I'm having a fit, a heart attack or something. Anyways, Ron, what have you got to say today, sir? He's got some info, he's got his take on the tariffs and trade wars. Let's give it a listen.
Okay, game on! Trade war back, bigger and better! Fuck me, this is horrible. So, more tariffs, more random tariffs. Tariffs on some weird bag of shit, too. Like, hockey sticks, dairy, booze, wigs. What the fuck? Anyway, 50% tariffs, which is basically shut them down, okay? You tariff something 50%, it's like, yeah, you're not going to send them anymore. It's over. So the craziness is back up and running. It's very, very, very clear. What do we think about this? Now, it only really affects about 5% of our exports to the U.S. But here's the important thing. For those people who work in those businesses and the people who own those businesses, that 5% is as serious as a heart attack. It's like 50% tariffs, you're toast. That's it. You're just toast. Okay, so why is he doing it? Why does he do anything? Why does Trump do fucking anything? Come on. It's not reasonable. And by the way, he is now tariffing Kuzma-compliant things. He's just invented something out of a 100-year-old act of Congress that, yeah, this gives me the right to do it because you've been bad, Canada. You bad. You discriminate against our wine and bourbon. fuck. Okay, fuck. Anyway, so it's basically illegal. He's doing it anyway. We all have to feel, if you work at a bank or you're a teacher or you work for the government or a million other jobs, this has no impact on you. You're not exporting honey or wigs, okay? But for those involved, and the wood products, that's terrible. So for all of those people, it's a disaster. It's terrible. Should Carney do more? Should Carney have done more? Should we be in a better position in terms of trade right now? Carney was elected as the Trump whisperer, right? I know Trump's impossible to deal with, but I got a funny feeling Mexico's a bit farther along in this, and there are no extra tariffs that I know of on Mexican stuff. No, haven't heard of it. So, yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know, does Mexico have the automotive tariffs? I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, this is bad, very bad. And, of course, Doug Ford just shoots his mouth off like a fucking loon. But forget about that. Prime Minister Carney, please, for the sake of the people whose jobs are going to be decimated by this, can we please get something going? Please, can we get something fucking going on this tariff thing? It's one of the reasons he got elected. Okay.
He's not wrong. Even Mexico has said, hey, Canada has not come to the table. There's 3 countries in this free trade agreement. We're not even dealing with Mexico. But as long as Trump keeps doing this bullshit, Carney's popularity just goes up for some reason because he's the guy to fight Trump, but he's not doing it. He's just not doing it. He's not done it. Hasn't even begun. Oh, for the love of... Anyways, moving on. I thought this was interesting to share. Donald Trump is threatening additional tariffs on Canada in response to the wildfire smoke crossing into the United States. Liberals are saying that new taxes will do nothing to stop forest fires. Will they do the same? Will they apply the same logic to carbon taxes? Duh! You wonder. You wonder. And this, Carney caved. Carney said there would be no profit sharing until the debt was repaid on the Gordie Howe Bridge. He lied. How can Canadians trust anything he says? Anything else he says? I have not trusted anything he said since day one. Moving on, this is kind of old news now, but I guess it's going to just fade away now about the condo bailout. Shouldn't fade away, but there was a whole blurb here that is really long and I don't feel like reading it. So we'll just read the cartoon here if you can read it for yourself. We're making housing more affordable and bailing out his friends. Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's 1.45 billion or 3 billion. I don't know what the number is on the whole condo bailout. But if it's so great for Canadians, why are you so afraid of questions? I mean, he turned down the ethics probe, or shut down the ethics probe. So we'll never know. We'll just never know. He's got all the power, so we started asking questions. Well, shut that down. Shut that shit down. No, you're not going to find out a damn thing. I really enjoyed this meme, although it was terrible what's going on with the forest fires, but only taxes can prevent forest fires, right? I mean, exactly. And back to the Gordie Howe Bridge situation from Andrew Lawton, MP. Mark Carney said any sharing of the toll revenue won't happen until all the debt is repaid. This is a lie. His Gordie Howe Bridge deal, quote unquote, forces Canada to give half the net toll revenues after operating costs, not after debt repayment to the U.S. And apparently this is not even accurate, I guess. I don't know. Either way, the U.S. is getting half the frickin' money. Funny how this left the news cycle too. This was, I guess, last week or a little bit ago, but Mark Carney hires a COO, creates this position, as Chief Operating Officer for the Liberals for his office, and he appoints Maya Johnson to the position, who's got connections to Hillary Clinton, but more importantly, she's a bloody American. You mean to tell me out of like 40 million Canadians, not one person is eligible for the job, is qualified for the job? You gotta hire an American? Stupid. Okay, and we're moving on. I've got a bit of a video here. I wanted to show this one a few weeks ago, but I didn't do a show. So, if you've seen this, I'm sorry, but if you haven't seen it, well, it's worth. You know what? It's worth watching again. This is fantastic. This is Pierre Poilievre. Just, he really gives it to Carney. I love it. This is one of my favorite videos.
Good news, everyone. The world is not coming to an end after all.
Don't worry, kids, about climate change. Don't worry about taking action on the planet. Enjoy your 10 hours in the car and let the planet burn.
This is a big development. After all, over the last decade, Mark Carney's been telling us all that oil and gas was a, quote, existential threat to the planet and climate. In plain English, that means that the world could cease to exist.
We're in a climate crisis. You need a plan to get out of it.
But in a YouTube video the other day, he changed his mind. In fact, he now says we no longer need to meet our emissions reductions targets at all.
The changes we have made will mean that our emissions will be higher in the next few years.
Let's recap. Mark Carney wrote a book called Values that pushed bigger and broader carbon taxes and bans on gas vehicles to keep oil and gas in the ground. But if you don't like those values, I guess he's got other ones. He was even the UN's climate envoy, where he pushed a report that said we needed to keep 65% of our oil in the ground. He founded the Net Zero Alliance of banks committed to starving oil and gas of investment.
Which is why you need things like GFANs that are relentlessly, ruthlessly, absolutely focused on that transition to net zero.
He even said that more people would die of climate change in 1 year than died throughout all of COVID. Of course, he made a fortune peddling this crisis as a corporate power broker. He went around asking governments for handouts for his company's heat pumps and inflated green energy and aviation fuel, driving up the costs and driving out the jobs of workers in the process. Anything to save the world. But now, Carney says, we no longer need to hit our emissions targets. In fact, emissions can go up. The crisis is canceled. It's a miracle.
The changes we have made will mean that our emissions will be higher in the next few years.
Now, politicians can change their mind. Of course, they flip-flop from time to time. But going from saying that oil and gas will end the world to saying emissions can go up is the flip-flop of all flip-flops and right before pancake season. So here's the question. Was it ever really about saving the planet? Or was it crying crisis to tax more, regulate more, and control more? Either way, surely we can all relax now that the world is safe. No, 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 no. He's declared there's a new crisis, which will once again require more power for government, more money for insiders, more handouts, bailouts, and carve-outs for the club, and more taxes, debt, and inflation for you. Need proof? He's still planning to boost the industrial carbon tax by 500%.
What does that mean? It means more than a 6 times increase in the industrial price of carbon from its effective level.
And a newly renamed carbon tax at the pump will rise to 17 cents a liter for you. And all Trudeau's anti-development laws remain on the books. There are 500 projects that his government continues to block. Meanwhile, your groceries cost more. Your mortgage is up. Your paycheck is worth less. But cheer up. The world isn't ending anymore. So hit share and tell your friends the good news. So the world's not coming to an end after all. How does that sound to you?
Awesome.
That's terrific, eh?
Very good.
We're going to be all right.
This is freaking classic. And that's pretty much how conservative people feel. I've been feeling that all along. For crying out loud. Oh, thank you, Pierre. Well, we're at the end of the show now. It's our favorite time. Stanley, I've missed you. It's been so long, brother. Alrighty. Here we go. Let me pull up the first joke. Let me get the soundtrack ready. It's glitching already. Uh-oh. We're getting glitches. Oh, hold on. Ready? Alright. People say Queen isn't metal. I disagree. Every song they recorded has mercury in them. Delayed reaction. Oh boy. Okay, I think I worked out the bugs. What do you call two monkeys who share an Amazon account? Primates. This thing's killing me. Okay, one last one. Now, are you ready for this? Oh, I can't see it. Them. If April showers bring May flowers, what do Mayflowers bring? Me. Pilgrims. I love the new sound effect. Well, we got through another episode. It's been a while, so I really appreciate you sticking with me through this one. If you like this, hit like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, leave a comment. Let me know if you agree, disagree with anything I say or share. Tell me what you like or dislike. Nobody leaves any comments ever, so I don't know what goes on in anybody's heads, but people click on it. So anyways, as always, you have been a dynamite audience, and you deserve to give yourselves a round of applause. So anyways, don't know when I'll be doing another one, but until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and God bless.